Hey guys, it's Jamie and I am transgender. That is a thing that I am. My jumper also matches my cushion, but that's not relevant to the video. Today I'm going to be answering the question of if I had a choice to be born transgender or cisgender, which one would I go for? This is in no way saying that being trans is a choice, because it is definitely not. It's just saying if there was some magical realm where I could choose how I was born, what would I go for? Because you know, you are either born trans or cis, so would I go for trans or cis? I think if you'd asked me this question up to about the 2-3 year mark into my transition, I would have very quickly said I would not choose to be trans. I would never choose to be trans, and I think that's maybe an attitude shared by quite a lot of trans people. Not everybody, but like quite a few. But the further along in my transition I've gotten, the more kind of like at peace and just proud of being trans I've become, and the more I can just really see the positives it's had on my life, which sounds weird, but like there's been a lot of positive things happen in my life as a result of me being trans. One major one of those that is like huge in itself and almost like makes up for all the shit stuff that's happened because I'm trans is I'm with my fiance. I've been with my partner Shaba since we were 17, and at the time that we met she was not allowed to make friends with boys and actively didn't make friends with boys. So if I'd been a cis guy, we wouldn't have even been friends in the first place, let alone gotten in a relationship together. And our relationship was really built on the fact that we were best friends first, and like we already knew each other quite a lot, and just all that stuff. It wouldn't have happened basically. And then another big one is that I genuinely think that my relationship with my family has gotten better since I came out as trans. I can't really explain why. My family are just wonderful, open-minded and accepting people, and I'm so grateful to have them in my life. And I think once you like tell your parents and that you're trans, and if they accept it, it kind of like made me a lot more open in talking to them about stuff, and I think just that openness has brought us closer. I'm not sure why, it's just a thing. I don't know what my relationship would have been like if I'd been cis and my relationship with them was never bad. I just definitely feel closer to them since I came out as trans. And then I also just feel like generally I'm a better person because of it, and that sounds really big-headed. I mean, I can be shitty. I have my moments just like everybody else, but I think like overall being trans has just given me a different perspective on life, which has made me a more open-minded and, I don't know, caring person. I'm not sure. I feel like it's made me a better person. And then also quite a lot of the really like exciting and memorable stuff that has happened in my life. Not all of it. There is lots that has happened away from being trans. It's not my whole life, but there has also been a lot that's happened because I'm trans. So I had the opportunity to model in Denmark last year, which was just like the coolest experience I've ever had. And my whole PhD is inspired by being part of the trans community and wanting to improve things for trans people, and it was the only idea I had for PhD, so I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be doing a PhD if I wasn't trans, because I wouldn't have had that inspiration for an idea. Maybe I would have had something else, I don't know, but you know, that's speculation. And then just like loads of other smaller things, like having the opportunity to take part in certain events and like go to Pride, and just like all these things that just make for like a fun time. There are more, but those are like the top, did I say 4 things? Those are like the top 4 things that like have really had a positive impact in my life. But positives aside, there have been some truly sucky moments and just horrible things that have happened over the years that I've been transitioning. Such as people just hating me and not liking me and not accepting me just because I'm trans, and they don't like that. The online hate comments telling me to kill myself, and like people in real life not accepting me and not wanting me to be part of their lives and things like that. It never feels good to be rejected for something that you can't control. I mean, it never feels good to be rejected full stop, but especially for something that you just cannot control and doesn't inherently make you a bad person or anything. And then I really struggled with self-acceptance in the beginning. I thought I was just, when I realized I was trans, yes, it was like a relief because I knew what was going on inside my head and why I'd been feeling the way I was feeling, but at the same time I was like, really? Me? Trans? Why? I don't want to be trans, what? And then there's dysphoria, like just dysphoria. Getting things like surgery can help with dysphoria, but equally sucky. I would never ever choose to have an operation that I didn't feel like I absolutely needed to get. And like especially lower surgery, that genuinely created the most terrifying and painful experience of my entire life. I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you want me to talk about it in more detail, I can. It is in my vlogs of my lower surgery, but I still now, nearly a year later, I have flashbacks and I remember what the pain felt like, and it makes me a bit upset sometimes. It's not great. Very happy with my results though. I do overall think it was worth it, but it just wasn't great, that whole experience. And then a really big one for me is having biological kids. It's either going to be really difficult, really expensive, or completely impossible for me and my partner to have biological kids, and it's something that kind of keeps coming back in my head, and I kind of get upset about it from time to time. But something that can make me feel better is just reminding myself that if I had been born a cis guy, there is no guarantee that I would be fertile and be able to have kids anyway. But it is hard sometimes to not just blame it on being trans. So those are kind of like the main negative things that have happened for me personally. But you know, saying that, they were all like really heightened and really like acute in the beginning of my transition, and kind of as time has gone on, they've all faded quite substantially. Like, dysphoria is barely even a thing in my life since I got lower surgery. Like, I cannot tell you. Dysphoria, who? I've fully accepted myself now, and I'm actually very proud of who I am and happy with myself, and a very vast majority, like 99.9% of the hate and like discrimination, I guess, I face for being trans is from online people just leaving comments, and quite frankly, I can ignore that. And then the worst of the surgeries are behind me, or at least I hope they're behind me. Like, oh, terrifying. And finally, I know that however Shabra and I have kids, they will be our kids and we will love them unconditionally, and I am very excited for that part of our lives, no matter how it comes about. I think, in short, to not be trans would to not be myself. I'm proud of who I am, I have fully accepted being trans, and I don't think there's anything wrong with embracing being trans and being proud with it. But the flip side of this question is, what if that question is posed ignoring the context of my life? If that was just a question of like, your life would be completely different regardless, you would literally be reborn, trans or cis, what would you pick? I mean, if I had no idea the positive things that were going to happen in my life because of being trans, I wouldn't pick being trans. I wouldn't take that risk, because it has created some truly shitty moments, and not everybody will have the same positives as me, and if I had to relive it, would it have the same good things happen? Would I be able to embrace it in the same way? I don't know. I would only ever even consider choosing to be born trans if I was guaranteed to have all the good stuff that's already happened in my life. But it is so hard to answer the question in that way, because I have lived my life. I have experienced positive things coming out of being trans. The negative things that I've had are not part of my life anymore, or are not big parts of my life anymore. So it's very difficult to answer it in that context, but I just wanted to give that as like an alternative point of view. But I am concentrating on the, if my life would be the same if I would be reborn as trans, then what would my answer be? And I think a reason why I do see positives in being trans is because I did deliberately look for them. I mean, some of them just happened, but I did like purposely go out and like, I realized I was trans and I was like, I'm not gonna let this hold me back. I worked on accepting it, then I worked on everything else I could that was in my control, and I refused to let it hold me back or have a huge negative impact in my life as much as I possibly could. I mean, not everything is within your control, and other people will be more or less in control of certain situations, but I did my best with my specific situation. I also never wanted to dwell on the what ifs. Like, what if I were born cis? I never saw the point in it, because I'm not cis and I never will be. And I see no point in just concentrating or even thinking about the possibilities of my life if I hadn't been trans. I'm not trying to preach to you guys here. I'm sorry if this does sound a little bit like speech-like or whatever. I just wanted to share my opinion on this because it's something I have been asked multiple times, and I think it's a really interesting topic, and it's totally okay to completely disagree with me on this. I don't mind. I'm not trying to start like a debate on this topic, because everybody is their own person, everybody has their own experience of being trans and everything. So this is just like my personal experience, my personal feelings and circumstances and everything. And something that did shape my experience a lot is having ME / chronic fatigue syndrome when I was younger. I really struggled to talk about this. I don't know why. I often get a bit teary when I talk about this subject. But for me, that was the worst time of my life. Being trans it's not been a breeze in comparison, but I felt like it's been a lot easier for me to cope with than having ME, because I was more in control of certain things to do with like my transition and stuff than I was when I was ill. I had literally zero control over my ME. Doctors couldn't tell me when it was going to go away. I spent the best part of 4 years between the ages of 12 to 16 having no clue if I would ever be better. I felt like I was stuck in some kind of black hole of limbo with no light at the end of the tunnel. And And yeah, that was like a really difficult situation to be in. So when I figured out I was trans, I was like, I'm not gonna let anything else in my life hold me back if it doesn't have to. I'm gonna control what I can control in this situation, and I'm gonna do my best to make the most of it and turn it into a good thing as much as I can. And you know, I think I did okay with that, and I never wanted being trans to be a horrible thing in my life, and I never wanted it to hold me back. And I know that people are in control of different things, and I've been very fortunate in some of my circumstances with being able to deal with it. But I thought it was important just to mention, because it is a big part of my whole attitude towards being trans, is because I just don't see it as the worst thing that's happened in my life. I see it as something that I can cope with. I see it as something that I can do something about dysphoria. I can still live my life, and yeah, it's not the worst thing that's happened. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. So like, in short, I don't know what I would choose if we take into consideration everything that's already happened in my life. I don't know. I really don't know. It feels weird to say I would choose to be born trans. Right, that it just doesn't feel right somehow, but I'm not unhappy that I was born trans. I just don't see it as something that you inherently have to hate about yourself. Obviously, these are just my personal opinions. You can disagree with me, you can have your own feelings, that's totally cool. I just wanted to share my opinion on this topic. But yeah, if there's anything in this video that you would like me to talk more about or go in more depth about, then leave a comment down below. Social media links are in the description box. If you want to see more, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, but no pressure if you don't want to. And yeah, as always guys, thank you so much for sticking with this video and watching me waffle and be awkward, and yeah, I will see you next time. Much love. Bye. That's a weird bye. 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 It's like bye. Bye.